Hey everybody, in this video we're going to have a look at Japan pointing and shouting but leaving Schlachet unmarked. Japan don't care about marking players who are behind the disc. You can see number 17 look around and find alternate marking options when his player occupies the backfield. He does however make a mistake at the end of the clip by paying too much attention to the thrower and biting on a backfield threat.
A lot of players playing in space.
Number 3 Yasuo Takahashi, top left, bumps into Bo early on in the clip, then points and shouts in order to pass him off to a deeper defender.
The World Games, where he had to defend Matsuno.
When Jimmy Mill comes near to him, he takes him as a mark but doesn't follow him into the backfield, instead taking the force.
A lot of players playing in space. They do a great job of communicating.
Number 19 Koike, as the central defender, is the first to point and shout to pass off an offense player who is jogging deep. Note how often he looks at the disc, checks the space around him, points to any nearby offensive options, and closes down offensive players when they are potential threats, depending on the status of the disc.
A lot of players playing in space.
Number 7 Unmarked enters the screen after a few seconds, and he is clearly conditioned to point and shout at any nearby offensive players, as he does 3 times in the first few seconds of defense. He makes a mistake, however, not marking number 4 Schlachet, who receives the zone-busting pass at the end of the clip. Although I would not call this defense a zone.
They do a great job of communicating.
The reason Unmarked did not mark Schlachet was twofold. Firstly, he was in a zonal mindset, falsely trusting that number 19 Koike would pick up any player in the middle of the field. Secondly, he was drawn towards a deeper offensive player who must have posed a threat. We can't say for certain as we can't see the deep marking. Koike, who starts as a central defender, was occupied with a live offensive threat on the sideline. By slightly poaching, he sent a false positive signal to number 7 Unmarked that he could cover a central offensive threat, hence why this player was left unmarked.
A lot of players playing in space.
If the deep marking was tighter, then this would have sent Koike a positive signal that he could commit to marking Schlachet and not worry about the deeper threat. Of course, the tighter deep marking would then have increased the risk of a USA huck, which was likely against the general Japanese team strategy for this game. The interesting positive theme of this clip is the repeated pointing and shouting whenever a Japanese defender identifies a potential offensive threat, even if it isn't always directed towards a specific teammate. This is clearly a cornerstone of the defense. Communicate the location of offensive players by pointing and shouting, using gesticulation and vocalization. What could be improved is making sure every offensive player is covered, as this would help prevent the zone buster to Schlachet. It's worth noting that the root cause of the offensive player being unmarked was a knock-on effect of poaching by Koike and the deep defenders, meaning Unmarked felt he could pass off Schlachet rather than mark him. I hope you found this video interesting. Make sure you turn the thumbs up sign blue and post any comments you have, and I'll see you again soon.
The mark, and sometimes not even worried about the mark. Here, Karlinski, middle of the field. They just want to make sure all the options downfield are covered.